Assalamu alaikum. Good evening, hello, and Masa al Khair. Welcome back to Global Society of Human Capital Management Weekly Live Wire. We are here again to discuss about the success stories, the newer happiness which is happening all across the globe. Today, we are just going to discuss a very critical and very sensitive topic in one of the emerging sectors of the world, which is called malls and retail sector. The question is, are the malls and retail sectors dead? Because post COVID-19, the Forbes magazines and the other statistics, they have shown that the global retail is approximately $30 trillion. And currently which stands to around $26.1 trillion. The physical retail is $22.1 trillion. And e-commerce is only $4.1 trillion. But interestingly, the Forbes magazine and other statistics that have shown that there has been an increase in 146% increase in e-commerce retail. Let's see the MENA region and Levant region statistics, which stands approximately to $41.56 billion, and e-commerce stands for only 2%. Interestingly, in the MENA region itself, the e-commerce has grown to approximately 200%. It is said, but the results are not out, that e-commerce giants like Amazon and Alibaba, they have added approximately 20% to 40% to their annual revenue growth just in last 2 months. So the question is, if the malls and retail stores are dead, the answers are virtual malls and online retails are the new business formats. If this statement is correct, so let's see today the paradigm shift in global retail strategy post COVID-19 and how HR can lead this change. With me today, we have a very interesting gentleman and a finest HR leader of Levant and Middle East region, Ihab Abdullah. Ihab is well known in this region, and he is chartered fellow from CIPD, FCPHR from Australia, SHRM senior certified professional from USA, and senior professional in human resource international from US. And of course, he's a PHR. To say a few words about Ihab before he will come and explain to us about his journey till date. He is one of the phenomenal HR and who has seen the retail store grow in last 15 to 20 years. He also has been heading the HR in other industries like construction and contracting sectors. So before we commence our discussion, let me welcome Ihab to today's discussion and debate, and he will tell us about his journey so far. Ihab.
Thank you, Sandeep, for this introduction, and thank you for hosting this live webinar. To start our journey talking about the retail situation post-COVID-19, we'll start talking about the global shift in consumer habit post-COVID-19. We'll cover this as the first topic. In this topic, we will look at the effect of the COVID-19 outbreak on the retail sector, which have been significant as we observe many shutdown orders have driven some company toward the edge, while others have enjoyed from spike in online shopping or have established creative forms of contactless delivery to keep customers safe. As Sandeep was saying, the global retail volume is about 26 trillion. The physical retail is about 22 trillion, meaning that online shopping is accounted for 4 trillion. Unlikely, the MENA region stake from the 26 trillion is about 22 billion. That means there are lots to be done in this area. However, COVID-19 has pushed each and every company to start thinking seriously about adopting e-commerce into their operating model. While many countries around the world start to reopen and pocket of spending return, consumers continue to feel the financial impact of the crisis. Consumers increasingly expect a lengthy impact to their routines and finance, and most of them report a reduction in income over the past weeks. The latest survey has revealed that the overall spending intent is down across 2/3 of countries that are surveyed, but more categories are showing positive trend. While spending on stay-at-home entertainment has always been elevated, spending on other categories such as food takeout and delivery, personal care, skincare, non-food product, fitness and wellness, and as well as gasoline is slowly picking up in some regions that are recovering from the crisis. To overcome or work around the restriction, we have observed that consumers have adopted digital and low-touch solutions like video conferencing, online shopping, e-commerce, and other virtual communication tools. Looking ahead to the next normal, we noticed that around 40 to 60% of surveyed consumers who adopt this approach or services intend to continue. As a business leader, we should embrace new customer expectation during the crisis in order to retain many of those customers in the long run as well as in the short run. As a company, we have to stay nimble and explore emerging sales technique in order to manage and make positive impression on shoppers long after COVID-19 fades. E-commerce accounted for just 14% of global retail sales. Today, e-commerce is inbuilt in our shopping patterns. COVID-19 is changing that dynamic. As reported on March survey, 74% year-over-year increase in online sales, like social distancing in offices, online shopping habits formed during this COVID-19 pandemic may persist well beyond the crisis. Those preferences will differ in many locations, and retailers that use location or adopt a business analytic to understand them will find ways to cater to such evolving consumer tastes. Looking to the consumer habits or shopping habits, we look at it from consumer sentiment. We review the consumer sentiment and we observe a steady consumer optimism across the world as many regions start to reopen and gradually back to normal operation. However, consumers expect a longer lasting impact to their routines and finance as the COVID-19 crisis continues. More than 70% of consumers believe that impact will last 4 months or longer. We observed also a low brand loyalty, a drop in brand stickiness, purchase product that fulfill the need rather than selected brand. We noticed also increase in consumption of packed, healthier, immunity boosting food and beverages, as well as hygiene and cleaning product, while cutting down spending, while consumer cut down spending on beauty, makeup, tobacco, and stop purchase of consumer appliances and electronic. Also, we look at the impact on the consumer. We notice that consumer will continue to experience a decrease in income. We notice that it may reach to 70% in Brazil, 40% in US, and 53% mainly in Europe, mainly in Spain and France. We also looked at the spending intent, and we correlated with the country with a greater optimism to economically recover are tend to have higher spending expectations, such as China, UAE, India, Saudi Arabia, and US, whereas most remaining countries have low optimism and expect to decrease spending. Also, we looked at spending from category-wise. We noticed that consumers have intent to spend more on essential across countries, while spending start to pick up across selecting categories as countries lessen restriction. Here comes the online shopping. Consumer intend to increase their online shopping across most categories in the near future. Intent to shop online for grocery is remarkably high. We notice that in India, Korea, and China. And we look at it from the time spent. Consumer in country which are still under stay-at-home restriction plan to spend more time on domestic activity, which will shift and increase the spending on the grocery and other essential category rather than on apparel, fashion, and luxury. Now we reach to future outlook. We observed that consumer anticipate change of shopping habit post-COVID-19 by looking ahead to the next normal. And we found out also that consumers are hesitant to resume in-person activities that were part of their daily lives before the start of the COVID-19 outbreak. Yet they expect to continue some of the digital and low-touch solution they have adopted during COVID-19 compared to the situation before the pandemic. Here I can say that many consumers across the globe do not intend in the short term to visit malls and enjoy the in-store shopping experience. However, they are more intent to continue doing such shopping through digital and low-touch activity they have adopted for the moment. Also, we observed that outdoor and fitness activities, such as well as remote learning and digital entertainment, exhibit relatively strong intent to continue across country. We noticed also that consumer personal hygiene and home cleaning category or shopping such a product as a part of their living. And they are avoiding overcrowded of public places and honor their own or personal space. They are, of course, looking for or seeking cleanliness and even certified shops or outlet. They start rethinking spending habit and focus on saving more and stay prepared for future outbreak. This COVID-19 has led to a rapid transition toward a new lifestyle and new personal value, which are strongly guided by the new model of social distancing. Yes, Sandeep, you.
So now we have discussed a lot about how the consumers' habits are shifting post COVID-19. There's some alarming figure which is coming up still. The effect of coronavirus, that it is reaching around 7 million across the globe, and death is reaching approximately 400,000. And though the most of the and vaccine is not in horizon, they're saying that some people they say that to use the chloroquine. Some places they say some other medicine, preventive medicines. Economies across the world is crumbling. So there's a huge pressure on the government to push their economy for a big start. So majority of the countries across the world, except Japan, Vietnam, Korea, where the economy did not close at all, we can say. So the other countries, we say in Middle East, like in UAE and Saudi Arabia, in Europe, some countries, US, they're pushing again to reopen their country. In Asia, already China is taking the lead, India is taking the lead. So there's a lot of pressure on the government and on the economy to start, because there's questions are coming up that a massive layoff is on the horizon. And retail sector, though, has not much got affected initially by the COVID, but in last, you can say 2 months or so, the impact could be seen in different kind of a format stores in the retail sector, especially the malls, where the luxury items you see, or it's not a fast moving item, unlike in FMCG. So now we go to our next discussion, the new dynamics in retail business. So what is this new strategic shift, and what all are the new realities globally? So we have seen the numbers coming up. Numbers are $26.1 trillion the business, and the e-commerce is growing phenomenally at the rate of around 100 and 146%. MENA region itself, with the numbers which says 40.1 billion dollars the business, and e-commerce is only 2%. There's a huge jump, there's a huge spike in the e-commerce. So give us a glimpse of how this retail sector is now coming to the new term, because a lot of people are still skeptical of going to the malls. They are still, though the government is, creating a lot of measures, the shopping malls are creating a lot of measures, safety environment, social distancing, and you say a lot of innovation going on all across during these times. But still, there's a huge perception, or we can say a fear perception, that the people would not like to grow in the malls, or go for a restaurant, or go for, with the families for outing. So in this new realities, how do you see that this new dynamics in the retail sector per se is going to change in next couple of quarters? I'll say because couple of quarters, because impact of this coronavirus will have a whiplash effect for next couple of quarters. So if this is the impact on the retail business, so what should be the retail strategy now? Does the retail format have to change their total strategy? Do they have to go for a warehousing kind of an inventory just in time and go for a home deliveries? Or they have to totally transform, give them the consumer fantastic AI kind of experience where they can feel, look, and see? Because I've seen in couple of retail format stores where the people have gone, there's a lot of restriction going on, because not everybody can go inside in one go. There's a social distancing norms are there. And so now the lot of new the festivals are coming up. Eid is coming. Then going to be a lot of Indian festivals will be coming. So then the Christmas will come in. So the year-ending celebration will come in. So now, does the retail sector, they will have to do the new strategic planning, because time is very short for them, because it has just hit very hard for us. Now, what do you see that the new dynamics changes going to happen in the retail sector, and what is your advice to the CEO, and the HR heads?
Well, thank you, Sandeep, for tackling this interesting topic. Really, so far, retailers are left are taken by surprises by the COVID-19 outbreak. However, some of them, they are take steps earlier than others by adopting online shopping and get it built into their operating model and business strategy. Those, they will have less impact than the one who was waiting for certain circumstances or change. However, retailer should adopt approach which centered on the redesigning the business and relationship models with the customer against shut-in economy model. As a quick win, retail business should transform and adopt transformation approach, which should be tailored on the social distancing model and will be strongly enabled by the implementation of a complete set of both traditional and cutting-edge digital solution. Here I would go forward by thinking about business remodeling strategy, which is defining their new competitive business strategy to ensure business continuity, growth, as well as the well-being of their employee as well as customers. Here, retailer, they may introduce a new working model which centered on brand purpose, value proposition to client, strategies that is aligned with customer experience, adopt a new online strategy, adopt a new multimedia communication strategy, a new value chain and operation, which is based on partnership with the suppliers and other third parties. Similarly, they have to look for a new way to improve employee experience and improve the engagement level of employee.
Perfect.
Such a strategy. More to the point, they have to adopt digital business transformation design, a design of a new business model which leverage or harness the technology advancement, covering customer experience, brand product portfolio, and pricing model innovation, online reshaping, and seamless commerce design, as well as responsive supply chain and operation restructuring. Also, they have to go and improve their vendor management. They have to work on people capability by uplifting their people capability, and especially their middle management level, who are the link between the top management and the blue collars.
Abdullah,
Yeah.
I want to just interject one. Sorry, my apologies. How about how they can? There is the overhead cost. You know, the overhead cost, or you can say the fixed cost, or you can say OPEX. Overhead cost and the fixed cost for the retail sector that needs to be managed in this current situation, because not all stores can withstand this current overhead cost and the OPEX, both fixed and operation cost. Now, what should be the new strategy for the retail sector? So that is the physical stores. Do they have to retain? Will they have to retain the current formats? Will they have to shrink it, or will they have to change? Because see, the footfall is going to reduce phenomenally. There's going to be at least a reduction in, say, 40 to 50% a decrease in the footfall. So, do they have to reduce the current format stores? Will they have to close? Will they have to renegotiate the retail costing? Because the overhead costing is going to kill them. And if they don't want to, if they will not do this certain immediate measures, will they have to do some cost cutting in terms of the salaries? Will they have to defer the incentives and for the new innovation? So the IT, will the IT come in the forefront? You know, now because of the e-commerce. So could you throw light on these parameters?
Okay, thank you. From financial perspective, I can say that retailers should now focus on planning effectively for short-term liquidity and working capital management in non-essential retail, meeting fixed cost obligation, including rent, salaries, in absence of adequate revenue inflow. here I would like to say that rent and staff costs contribute to 50% of overall expenses of retailer and retailer. Okay, so
Which
this
is
is
huge, which is huge. It's a huge
yes.
cost. And for them
This
to
is
sustain it, it's extremely difficult in this current situation.
yeah, I totally agree with you, Sandeep. This is a major.
So the question here is one more thing. Will we see in next near term, like the next couple of 1 or 2 quarters, there will be a headcount reduction, or will they have to retails? They have to come out with some new strategy of reduction in the cost in terms of reduction in terms of the salaries or the incentives, or in some other places they need to reduce the cost. So how they will survive during these
Well,
times?
well, of course, most of retailer they work on a small margin. So to
Yeah.
have a healthy balance sheet, you have to optimize resources in order to get better bottom line. So to optimize resources, here comes the role of the HR by upskilling, getting people who are multi-skilled, working across different section, and they are able to deal and to handle customer concerns across different section. This is from training perspective.
So now
From
here we are now. Here now you
yeah,
brought the HR. Now you
yeah,
put the HR in the hot seat.
yeah. So also HR could play a major role by while hiring they hire the right person who enjoy working across or enjoy working in a multi-task environment. Also here, HR may play a major role. Uh, also, the compensation and benefit or the reward strategy would enhance this by putting incentives or working an extended working hour while focusing on having a robust time management and workforce planning, shift
So
wise.
Ihab, let's prioritize now. Let's prioritize in the human capital strategy, since we have come here in human capital strategy to deal with the new normal situation. So the first priority, what should be your first priority in the HR? Will the total reward will be the first priority? All reskilling or multitasking of the people will be the important priority, or hiring people with the new skill set like an e-commerce, or the delivery, or something innovation, will that
Well,
be the priority?
well, well, looking at it, it may go hand in hand. For me, I would consider this to go hand in hand. Uh, as we have different HR section within the HR department, so each section would have his own task, his own target, and he has to fulfill it. I would say that it goes hand in hand. However, if I have to look at it from budget constraint, I would say that looking at people productivity, start increasing. Think about innovative way how to increase productivity, how to get people more productive, maybe reduce the number of people, which is now become mandatory by government as they request certain number of people to be present in a shop floor. And as a HR professional, it is extremely critical to have our eyes and ear on the strategy table to partner on the change being adopted and learn quickly to understand the new talent market. Here comes the hiring and training initiative to be a key role in hiring the right person and training and developing the current one.
So what you suggest and recommend is having a multi-pronged strategy. It should
Yes.
not be, the priority should not be like only reduce the salaries or the incentive or restructure the salaries. Whereas you're recommending that the HR strategy, HR should work like a business partner and work on a multi-pronged level, right? They should work
Yep.
on a redesigning or reconstructing, I'll say re-engineering the total reward strategy for the organization, number one, right? Which you're
Yes.
saying.
Yes.
Secondly,
However,
yeah,
yes.
go ahead.
However, or more to that, I can't overlook to mention a critical aspect, which is the organizational design. In order to cater for this change, we have to think also about the organization design that enable such a change.
So,
Okay.
so let's say total rewards that need to be redesigned and re-engineered, right? Second, the new organization structure needs to be put in place that will support the business. Okay, the second part. And third part, which you suggested or recommended, was time and time management. Basically, workplace people, how much they should come, how much they should be, offline. And number fourth, you are recommending that hiring people with the newer skills, right?
Yes, with
Or
updated skills
reskilling, or
that
we can say the reskilling of the current staff. We can say identify those people who may be having certain skills, and say in e-commerce we can shift it from, say, on shop floor to the e-commerce side, or we can change it or make it the customer care, where then people can respond to the customers, if they are having a queries and having a challenges to deal with the e-commerce website.
yeah, they have to be able to work in a different section. They have to be ready to work in multitask environment. They
Right.
have to be multi-skilled personnel, where they are able today to work on consumer customer care issues. Then tomorrow they have to cover the sales, the absence of the salesman, as well as they can work and operate a cash machine.
Perfect. And what do you say now that if these are our priorities, so the HR,
Sandeep, not to forget here, I don't want to overlook also to mention that this should be also backed and supported by a performance management that measures employee productivity and keep them on track, which should be based on objectives and key results area, where each and everyone would have their own KPIs and works towards achieving it. So we will move.
So the performance, so the total organization matrix,
Yes.
Performance matrix should undergo a change now, right?
Yes.
Because in the current new normal, the current KPIs will not sustain the business.
Agree. Totally agree. As you know, HR is totally integrated function. You cannot work on training and development and not to consider hiring, onboarding, reward strategy, employee relation, performance management. It's all integrated.
Right.
Look at HR as a from in a holistic view. We don't look at it as a section by section.
Right. So let's now go toward the last topic, which is with HR now, since HR in the hot seat and HR has to drive from your employee health and safety to restructuring, redesigning your people strategy, restructuring and redesigning your performance measurement matrix, and of course, creating a counseling structure inside an organization so that they are able to support the employees in terms of this crisis, and of course, a robust communication strategy. Now, if that be in place, if we are able to keep, the next major work with the HR will have to do now is business continuity and the risk management. HR has never thought, of course, forget HR. The industry has never thought that the time will come wherein for 100 odd days or over 100 odd days, people will be locked inside their houses voluntarily, by themselves. They will not come out. They never thought about this scenario has stuck even to the expert businesses. So now the question is, if business continuity and the risk management is in question, do we say that this can be one of the very significant business strategy which the HR leader must focus on now?
Again, thank you, Sandeep. Before moving and talking about this topic, I would like to sum up from the topic which we were debating in a certain points. I can say about the HR part, HR should rethink the workforce model and institutionalize digital way of working for future. Reconsider workforce payment, bonus, promotion for top management, reduce hours, and put a rational shift schedule. Planning for long-term optimization in payroll-related expenses, such as bonuses, increment, and so on. Here we also realigning the workforce to focus on digital and retraining employee to adapt to new way. Look at the way or best way to attract talent through innovative HR policy also when demand picks up in case of layoff have taken place. Of course, we have to put health and safety of frontline staff as a priority, as well as customer. And of course, we have to work on flexible and remote working arrangement for non-store facing employee. Of course, not to mention increased collaboration within the ecosystem by having modern retail with organized online retailer to offload inventories, retailers adopting reverse supply chain mechanism. Here we have to collaborate with other third-party people. Okay, this is in a nutshell about to close the HR part. Moving to the business continuity and risk management, here I can say the most important lesson from the COVID-19 crisis is that the period of crisis has the biggest impact on retail, driven by how the consumer buying behavior is likely to be.
Right.
I guess everybody, it's uncertain how the consumer buying behavior would be in the future.
I think so. Ihab, one more thing. In the business continuity context, before we go to business continuity, one thing I would like to interject here. The capability of HR professional is also needs to be questioned. We need a very robust and strong HR professionals in the organization. So, in this context, I would like to pick your brain on HR certification. Does that enable the HR professionals to contribute more significantly, especially in the situations like this?
Well, I do agree that HR certification will set you apart from other HR leaders. Today, we are gaining our HR knowledge through practice. Going into certification environment will give you the chance to formalize such knowledge, put it in a formal context, enable you to analyze, think, and propose solution. And of course, set you apart from other business leaders by being a credible activist and trusted change agent and a person who manage paradox.
Perfect. So in this context, Ihab, I would like to just to bring to the viewers that we have got some certifications coming up, which is called online SHRM SCP CP certification. So HR professionals who are interested to take on this certification, they can contact Bostonica team. The questions, the contact details and the email IDs are given here. And since it's new normal COVID-19, so all the certifications trainings are going to get done online. And apart from this, there is a very interesting certification which is introduced by our alma mater HR Certification Institute, which is Associate Professional in HR International. Now, this particular certification is very, very unique. This is for those HR professionals who don't have experience in HR at all. So, if you would like to grow in HR, or if you want to start your first career in HR, you can go ahead and take on this certification program. So this is what was about two certification which the Bostonica that offers. Can you just throw uh, a few, maybe 1 minute on your certification, which is you've recently done Chartered Fellow from the CIPD and FCAPHR. So how was your experience was? And did it add some value to your professional career in terms of knowledge and delivering the expectations of the organization?
Well, assuming a leadership role in HR function should be associated or equipped with the required credential. Aside from the academic qualification, there are certain certifications that are considered an added value for an HR professional, such as the FCIPD and the SPHRI. And so for me, it was a decision to pursue FCIPD to develop and as a part of my continuous development plan. It was on my agenda to achieve it. As I achieve it, or as I go through it, of course, I noticed a major change with the information, with the flow of information, with the way you deal with the HR, knowing that in our region, in Middle East region, HR is considered mainly as, so far, I cannot say, I can say that 50% still considering HR as payroll-driven function, rather than focusing on employee experience, employee engagement, and start thinking of outsourcing payroll. Normally now HR has nothing to do with payroll. It's placed under finance or outsourced. So the role of HR now become crucial, and many CEOs start to rely on HR in improving employee contribution, employee commitment, physically and psychologically, and to boost this one through different HR initiative. Here comes the role of the HR professional to take this input from the CEO, process it, and get the right output, which will deliver the expected deliverables by the CEO. In a nutshell, these certifications will enable HR professional to do this in a very relaxing mode.
And
as you may go,
yeah,
as you may go in a different environment and occasion. I wouldn't say here testing you as a HR professional, but confirming your HR professionalism.
okay. We would like to give you certain information here about Ihab. Ihab is also the chapter chairperson of Lebanon chapter of Global Society of Human Capital Management, which is MESHRAM, and he leads the Human Capital Management chapter from Lebanon. And we had a pleasure to help and guide and coach Ihab to get his certification, which is FCIPD and FCHRP. The journey was phenomenal. We both enjoyed this journey. Now, moving on, there are some questions are there, Ihab. So as we go, there are some questions which has been posed by the attendees. Chris, he says that with the retail industry facing never happened pressure to keep up with the daily changing landscape, they're addressing the huge issues, and then on top of that, they are under huge pressure from the government. Then Dinesh says that the online retail purchases may not rise so fast and so high because most of the consumer items for the people, it has been catered by the nearby stores. What he meant was mom and pop stores. And Mohammed Salim, he says that does the HR KPI are same in every company in the region? Of course, it is different. And he says that when we say HR will drive, which part of HR is responsible to drive? And he again says, I think business continuity is very important, which many companies have. HR is one of the major pillars. It should look for HR perspective, not from the business or market angle. And like ISO 9001, 2015, and others. Mohammed Maktal, he says from Saudi Arabia, from your viewpoint, how HR department can deal with bottom line during COVID-19 without impacting the people motivation and engagement? Response. The number of questions are there.
Well, excuse me, I couldn't catch on the question, but what stick in my mind, of course, I would go for the business continuity question, as I understand.
I think the business continuity and Mohammed Matkal, his question is very pertinent. That how, from the point of view, how HR department can deal with the bottom line, because the question now for the companies is not only sales, the bottom line, because if they are not able to deliver the bottom line, because if your overhead cost is eating or OPEX is eating your profitability, then potentially you are heading towards a major cut down in the people.
Let me start with the risk management. Okay. Given the uncertainty around the crisis, it become imperative for retailer to have a cross-functional, swift response team to handle any event that may follow. They must be flexible, adaptable to alert operation model and product assortment to meet the requirement that is most critical at the given point in time. Here I would mention long-term upgrading of critical technology infrastructure that ensure business continuity, enhance the digital security, minimize risk of data theft, also enhancing business continuity planning, such as having a crisis steering committee to deal with the future pandemic. Of course, here we need to mention that they have to follow governmental directive and swiftly respond to government directed emergency measures and legal directives. Also, through ensuring strict governance around compliances and timely reporting and fraud detection mechanism. Also by enforcing legal communication to counter disruption, reassessing the insurance policies clause and cover for protection against future risk. Of course, needless to mention also here, reviewing agreement contract clause with all stakeholders to reduce future risk. And of course, enhancing, again, the digital infrastructure to cope with the spike in online traffic. This is, in a nutshell, about the risk management.
How about the next question? That how do the HR can how deal with the bottom line during the COVID-19 without impacting people, motivation, and engagement?
And answering this question should be centered on two parts. Again, the financial perspective and the emotional perspective. Looking at the financial perspective, I can say that retailers should now focus on planning effectively short-term, again, liquidity, meeting fixed cost obligation, see innovative way to go and renegotiate their rent, especially in premium, in high and or premium malls or premium location.
And I think so. A lot of owners,
managing
owners, they are renegotiating. They are helping.
Managing profit that may arise from stock liquidation. They should be very cautious with the increased receivable from partners and payables. They have to be very careful with potential default and, of course, bank obligation rising from high cost of capital, whereas they have reduced revenue inflow. Also, they have to work on controlling their capital expenditure plan for the new store and the renovation plan for existing store put on hold.
Absolutely.
That one that may impact long-term growth. Again, here they have to renegotiate contract to minimize impact of shutdown and reduce demand. And they have to be very clever by effectively utilizing schemes of financial relief, including grace period for filing taxation, repaying bank loan, job support subsidy, such initiative, financial reliefs. Okay, when when we go to the emotional part,
and quickly in 1 minute, you have to sum it up because we are reaching the time.
when we go to the emotional part, of course, HR is a major agent in having people engagement level improved through day-to-day communication, building the capability of the line manager who will be managing those staff, reassess their skill set, their mindset, and they have to look at the pain points in their working place, try to lessen such pain point, and of course, balancing between putting on the two hats of employee championing and organizational builder.
And I will also recommend you have to establish a good communication strategy, because most of the time the fear psychosis on the employee is because they are not getting adequate information. On one side, the management says, we are doing certain things, and then there is a lot of the fear psychosis that builds up in the employee. So I think so holding their hand in these difficult times, and everyone understands that yes, the business is going through a difficult and a tough time, and HR must encourage this communication between supervisors and employees, leaders and managers, or leaders and the organization. And
adding to this, I would also mention here that HR leader must also take into account employee well-being.
yes,
Okay, during this time of
Yes.
increased stress, and by having a clear internal communication during this time from HR, which is necessary and will help to keep employee feeling supported and motivated, especially when transition to working from home or working extended shifts. And they have HR should crafted employee-centric communication, which based on internal communication channel that were about more than how to use the VPN, how to use the Zoom, rather to stay productive, but more also how they take care of themselves and their family.
Yeah, now we have reached, we are already overshot by 4 minutes. My last question to you, just sum it up.
Yeah.
Our malls and the retail stores are going to be dead, or they will have to work on their virtual format in the retail stores?
Well,
I think in our discussion we said that they are not going to be dead at all, right? But there are going to be a lot of changes in the way the shopping experience we need to create for the customers.
I can say as a retailer, they should react to fluidity of the now, what's the now today. And they also need to build resilience or to be resilient for the next. When demand start getting restored, and think beyond, which is long term, they should map a strategic journey to financial resilience, at the same time plan for longer term implication on their operating model to shift in external environment. Speed, agility will be a key lever of success, and retailer will need to adopt a faster approach to navigate the crisis now and plan for the next and beyond. Answering the question, are we going to have, or are we going to receive consumers in the physical stores? I can say for the upcoming 15 years, yes, we will still having physical stores. However, many consumers, they have enjoyed now the online shopping, which they never tried before, and
They've
they
been
have,
forced, basically.
yeah, and they have already experienced and enjoyed such experience, whether 3D or whatever. Okay, so if online or e-commerce provider were smart enough to cater for such shopping habit or taste, they will catch those consumers for good.
Thank you so much, Ihab. And
Thank
thank
you,
you for
Sandeep.
being with us. And again, we say that we have the announcement that Ihab is the chairperson of Lebanon Global Society of HCM chapter, and he is phenomenal HR leader in retail and other industry. We just share with you all viewers that there is an online SHRM SCP CP certification. If you would like, you can contact in the numbers given below on the email ID. And for the fresher people who have just begun their career and if they want to enroll to this certification, they are most welcome to start. And everything is going to be online from UAE. Thank you so much, Ihab, and it was pleasure to have you on board for this phenomenal discussion that malls and retails are stores are dead, are virtual malls and online retail new business are new business formats, and the paradigm shift in global retail strategy post COVID-19 and how HR can lead the change. Thank you so much, and we will come back with the viewers with more such interesting discussions in the retail sectors and other various sectors. So keep watching this space. We'll come back to you next week. May not be same time. We may do it on Wednesday because a lot of people are saying that because of the work and they can only spend only certain time in office and then they would like to view this LinkedIn live. And since Saturdays and Fridays are weekend, they would like to spend their time with the family. So we are shifting this live wire on Wednesday. So thank you all for viewing this, and thank you, Ihab, for being with us. Assalamu
Thank
alaikum.
you. Thank
Ma'as-salama.
you, Sandeep, and thanks for the audience.